Financial Credit Union is located at 300 North Beeline Highway inside Walmart, and their number is 602-433-7000.
And a big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight program. Good morning, Rim Country. Chris Higgins in the studio. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday morning, enjoying the beautiful weather out there. A chance of rain later this afternoon. We'll see what happens, determine March. We don't tell March what to do weather-wise, it tells us. So we just hang on for the ride. Well, this morning on our Community Spotlight program, we have some folks in, some fine folks from Banner Payson Medical Center. We have CEO Hoyt Scavlin. Good morning, Hoyt.
Good morning, Chris. Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. We have physical therapist Trevor Chitwood. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning.
And we have speech pathologist Ron Hankins. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning.
So we're going to be talking about these services, the physical therapy and speech therapy offered at Banner Payson Medical Center, and just get to know these guys a little bit better as well. And I know these are two areas, two departments that you're very proud of.
Very proud of it, and they're important to the community to be able to have. When we talk with Ron, we're going to learn more about his service, which expands our ability to care for patients.
Mm-hmm.
His services are essential, along with Trevor's, to be able to have swing bed patients, and we can Trevor can teach us more about that. You know, a hospital is composed of well over 30 departments, and so it's kind of fun to help bring a little insight into the details of those departments. And it's also a great honor to be seated next to the best physical therapist in the country.
That's right. I know we were going to have to bring that up. Recognized as best of Rim Country physical therapist. Congratulations on receiving that, Trevor.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was really humbled to receive that award. And what's weird is I didn't even know the voting had happened. And so I got a call from the roundup that says, "Hey, you're a finalist." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, because I had won the year before," and I thought they were talking about last year.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, for 2024. And I'm like, I didn't even know anyone was voting on that, so I didn't campaign this year.
No, that is great. Yeah, it's great to have people, with this passion, all the experience at this level. Here in Payson, we're really blessed to have, all the people you have with Banner.
Today, licensure and training for a physical therapist requires a PhD.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be a master's program, now it's a PhD, so 2 additional years of extensive training. Trevor's story, we've talked on the program before with him, an amazing story. I'm excited for Ron to tell some of what his story is, and it just fascinates me that we live at a time when there's more knowledge, revealed knowledge about science and human body than ever before. Mm-hmm. And not one person could ever encapsulate all of that, on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously
in
the heavens people who know it all, but on this earth, these two gentlemen, the amount of training and knowledge and experience they have in themselves is amazing and spectacular.
Well, in the program, you mentioned the swing bed program. I was sharing that with someone, I forget who it was recently, and they were just very impressed. They didn't realize that it was offered at Banner here in Payson. And they said, wow, that makes so much sense. How great is that, to where people don't have to maybe go down to the valley, but they can stay at the hospital, be transferred to a swing bed, have familiar faces, be in town, and not be far from home, have family. It's easier for family and friends to visit, just all of it. But they said, wow, what a wonderful program. I'm like, yeah, and we have it right here. It's something that Banner Payson Medical Center offers.
One of the advantages of being designated with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services as a critical access hospital is the ability to have 10 of your beds, up to 10 beds, licensed to swing between acute care and skilled nursing care. And one of the requirements that CMS, Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, before a patient can be transitioned from acute care, overnight stay, to a skilled nursing which is less acute, but to be able to qualify for that by Medicare, Medicaid, they must be able to demonstrate the need for therapies, and I'll let Trevor expand on that, about speech and language pathology, occupational therapy, and physical therapy are some of those modes.
So Trevor, I know you've been on the program before, but tell everyone listening, watching, a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in Payson, how long you've been a physical therapist, and with Banner, and so on.
Okay, yeah, my dad moved here when I was probably like 5 or 6 years old, so I've been, but I grew up in Coolidge,
Okay.
so I've been coming to Payson my whole life. I didn't go to school until I was 27, starting my doctorate degree, so it took quite a long time to get through that. And then once I graduated, I had all my rotations in Payson because I planned on moving here and living here. And so I got to rotate, you know, at Rim Country in their rehab unit, and then I got to rotate with Scott Nossick in outpatient, and then I had a hybrid hospital position here where I worked half outpatient, half inpatient. And then just kind of luck of the draw, I had actually accepted another position in Scottsdale, and they kind of got messed up with my training and they bumped me out for a month.
Wow.
And I told them I'm basically like dirt poor, living on loans, you know, trying to get through school, and I told them I can't afford to wait a whole month. And so I had been talking to Jamie Pinder here, you know, with Banner Select, and he was happy that that happened. Yeah, so then I ended up taking the position here, but then I was exposed to working at the hospital 50% of the time, and then once that position came available, I moved over to Banner.
Wow. So yeah, I know, Hoyt, you're probably very happy that they, you know, delayed that for a month. And
Answer the prayer.
yeah, worked out
It
wonderfully.
might have been a confusing answer for Trevor, but for us, no. Sometimes circumstances can matter.
Yeah.
I put a deposit on an apartment and everything, and I was able to get it back. So I mean, everything. It was scary time because I didn't know what I was doing, but everything fell into place really great. So I'm lucky.
And how long ago was that?
So I graduated in 2019.
Okay, so it's been 5 years now that you've been here, and you must obviously enjoy working for Banner Payson Medical Center and your position in the community.
Yeah, I don't plan on going anywhere. I hope I can retire here.
Another words you love to hear.
Well, Trevor, it's Hotel California. I told that to Ron when he joined as well. It's a one-way entry, and the staff, our team loves Trevor. He's on the nursing floor, the med-surg floor, and the emergency department loves Trevor. He comes in and does assessments on patients, and these two gentlemen, one of their skill sets is the ability to understand the status of the specific parts of the body or the function of the body that they're trained in, to help ascertain and understand what the best treatment courses are, or if there is a treatment course available. Physicians rely very heavily upon these gentlemen, and then the patients, when we can do something well for them, and that will help further the patient's progress, then their expert opinions and their treatments, and the course of treatments that they offer, are essential to that. So our team loves these guys, we love these services. It's disappointing when there are boundaries to our care, and there is limits, and typically in rural settings those limits become more and more constraining. So to have these experts on our team, it opens capacity and ability, and prevents the inconvenience of the family supporting a patient, to have to take work off to travel down for a 20-minute visit, and so to be able to keep people home and receive the same level of care that we admit you for here is, we're very proud of that. So the nurses won't let Trevor leave, so it's not gonna happen. And Ron doesn't know that yet, but he'll never be able to leave.
I think he does now. It's secret's out, Hoyt. So Ron, how long have you been a speech pathologist, and what led you to that?
I've been a speech pathologist for about 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I got into it because I was actually a dairy farmer.
Oh, wow, and where?
In New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, wow.
And
Okay.
one winter I was sitting at the table, and I had been in college for about a year before that. And I had a little beard, and it was wintertime, and I'd come in from milking cows, and all the moisture had frozen on my beard. And I was eating cereal and my beard was melting and
In here.
dripping in my cereal. And
No one likes that. That's,
And-
but now,
and-
you said a little beard, but then when you held your hand up, it was like down here.
Yeah.
So I have a little
Icicles.
beard. Was it a little longer beard, or?
No, it wasn't.
It was like this?
Yeah,
No,
it
so
was
it was a little
icicle
beard.
beard.
Yeah.
But it iced up?
Yeah.
Wow.
And when
Yeah.
that happened, I said, I think it's time for me to go back to school.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, and I had been, the program I was in before, for about a year, I was thinking about social work. And then when I started studying speech pathology, I thought, wow, this is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Some real hands-on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always liked working with adults.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got into a program in Massachusetts. I went to a community college first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I matriculated into the University of Massachusetts and went straight through and got my graduate degree.
Oh, UMass. There you go. That's a wonderful story. I mean, a life-changing moment to where when ice melting off your beard into your Cheerios determines, or I'm changing
I'm done.
professions. I'm done.
Strong.
I'm done
Wrote
with
the
skiing.
camel back right
I know. No more watered down cereal. This is wrong. Yeah. Well, in New England there, yeah, it can get pretty cold, pretty nasty, long winters.
Humid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I grew up in central Wisconsin, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very small community, rural.
Uh-huh.
And then we lived in Milwaukee, so I love the rural communities.
Okay, so Payson, Rim Country has been a great fit for you then.
Oh, yeah. I've been really fortunate because when I was married before, my wife did her PhD in Tucson, so we moved from Massachusetts to Tucson. And then I had an uncle here, and we started going camping all the time up on Rim Country. And so I just thought this whole area is just absolutely gorgeous.
So now, how long have you been here? When did you move to
Well,
Rim Country?
Oh, gosh. We moved back. What we did is we lived in Tucson until my wife finished her PhD program, and I worked for the St. Mary's and St. Joseph's in Tucson. Then she got a position in Georgia at the University in Georgia, in Athens, Georgia. So we lived there for about 7 years. And I was actually on faculty part-time, as well as I worked for a hospital in Gainesville for about 6 or 7 years. And then I also did contract work for the rural community in Georgia, which was really nice because very much like this hospital, they had swing beds. They had some hospitals connected right to a SNF, a skilled nursing facility.
Wow. So it's great that you have all of this experience. You've been, a few different places. So it's great to bring that experience here to Payson and to Banner Payson Medical Center. Wow. How do you feel all of that experience has affected you in this position? I mean, what has that done for you or brought, I guess, to you professionally?
Well, I think for me, I've always worked in adult neurology, and I have specialty in swallowing disorders. And I think coming up here, as Trevor has said, the need's been you really need to have somebody that was trained in swallowing disorders. And right now, we've already starting to see some patients that doing modified barium swallow, which is a type of x-ray for swallowing. And now they don't have to go down to the valley. They can stay up here and get that. So that's exciting.
What's cool about it is it's a live x-ray too, so it's kind of like a fluoro where it's taking multiple x-rays, and it's kind of like a video x-ray. So as they're swallowing, you get to see what all the muscles are doing and where the fluids are going. It's really cool to watch.
And they have a really nice system. It's called a TIM system. It's sophisticated. We record it live, and then I can go back and play back. I can stop it. I can enlarge it. I mean, it's a great system.
Wow, to really analyze.
Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy because to the layperson, to me, when I hear, oh, swallowing, I think, okay, that's pretty basic. You swallow. There's not much to it. But oh my goodness, breaking that down and everything that's happening, all the muscles involved, you mentioned fluids, I mean, everything that's taking place, there's a lot to it. So that's...
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the typical patient that needs the swallow study.
The swallow valves are really important, especially for patients that may have had strokes or any neurological disease like Parkinson's, MS, muscular dystrophy, any kind of throat tumors, cancer of the throat, especially if they have radiation, which can really impact the swallows in the neck area. The other area is, when I was in Georgia, I worked with 2 neurosurgeons because they did a lot of anterior cervical fusions, and they can experience a lot of swallow problems because when they do that, they actually move the larynx off to the side and go through the front to fuse the cervical spine. And it's just like, I sat in on the surgery, and it's just like woodworking. They chisel away at the, and then they put screws in, and so that can impact the swallowing too.
Wow. So if you're just tuning in or just started watching us on our Facebook live stream, we're talking with Ron Hankins, speech pathologist, Trevor Chitwood, physical therapist, and also Hoyt Scablin, CEO, all from Banner Payson Medical Center. And Ashley Morris is watching online. She said, "Hey, Trevor." I think you know Ashley, huh?
I do.
Yeah. And,
she's awesome.
And then also her mom, Cookie Leslie, watching, saying hi to Trevor. Forrest Wagner watching, and others online. So it's great to learn all of this and to hear all of this information. It just, again, is a real testimony to Banner Payson Medical Center and how you have raised the bar just so much in the community, and the level of service and the types of services that are provided to residents here in Payson and Rim Country now.
Well, thank you. It is our goal. I've said it before, and I said it earlier in the program, but we don't want to do anything that we can't do well. And not everything will be suited for a small setting. Things that we don't do enough of. If there's not enough volume, it's hard to remain proficient. But being part of a system like Banner, we're only 90 minutes from the next Banner facility, and so we have staff that go down, and you can get in 1 week at Banner University the volume that a rural would see in a year. So
In 1 week.
And an example would be delivering babies. You go down to some of those facilities, they're delivering babies every 10 minutes, and we're here, we may deliver a baby every other day. And so we try to make sure that we maintain proficiency. When you hire men like this that have experience, and particularly with Ron, he could ride a bicycle, in his sleep about speech and language pathology. So there's a point where you become proficient to a T. But we're excited to continue to explore what services are needed and are sustainable, and then it's a matter of persistence. Recruiting is the biggest, the greatest blessing of being in Payson is I don't find it's hard to recruit here. I hear people say that. I don't believe, yes, cost of housing's high, but Banner operates in 10 rural settings across 6 states, and I would tell you that the cost of living, the cost of housing and housing availability is a challenge in all of those communities. It's an American issue today, the cost of construction, etc. So that makes it challenging for people to move, and but recruiting is everything. We cannot be better than the caliber of the people that join our team, and so when Ron joins and Trevor, each of these moments is a celebration moment, and then our efforts are to try reasonably, try to make this the best place they've ever worked, or as equal as we can in terms of them feeling valued and listened to, and let them be owners, let them use their knowledge without unreasonable constraint, and it's exciting. We're doing really well. I would just share in that you always knock on wood, because you've never arrived. Yeah. And at some point each of us will retire, and that there's a cycle of life that has to happen. But right now, our employee retention is over 90%. I've never seen that in my career.
90%?
Over 90% of our staff over the last 2 years are choosing to stay with us. And those that leave, some of them, they have personal reasons they have to leave.
Yes.
It might be a family constraint or a divorce or as an issue, or simply a promotion in their career that isn't available here. So we're in the best place I've ever been as an executive in a rural hospital here in Payson. We're very grateful.
Wow, and when you say over 90%, if you just take a typical business or different industries, that would be amazing. But in the healthcare field, I would imagine after COVID, post-COVID, that just shook up the whole medical profession or medical field. So to have that retention rate that high.
It's unusual, we're unique, we're blessed.
Wow.
Rural settings in Banner have had higher retention, lower turnover. And we think it's because of the intimacy that's created with the community. It's easier to feel like you're an owner. You can see the difference you're making more easily. And so I think it's a phenomenon that's occurring. Now, there are rural hospitals that have 25, 30% turnover, large hospitals that have 30+% now after the pandemic. There is a settling in the industry. As many people were traveling, meaning that they were external contract labor, very high rates, but those are usually 13-week contracts. Those contracts are settling. People are reestablishing a permanent residence and permanent, which is good for the industry.
Yeah.
But we're really happy with that. Patient satisfaction, because we have hired good staff, our staff engagement and satisfaction levels are exceptional right now, knock on wood, and there are flaws. You know, we're always trying to improve as leaders. We're trying to improve our processes. There's always a weakness. There always will be, but as long as we're always striving to address those and get better, I think staff are patient. They understand that no one's perfect. The grass isn't always greener elsewhere. And we try to really engage the staff. We meet 3 times a year. I will hold 13 one-hour town hall sessions with staff, and we've had over 85% of staff attend. And we go around the room and make sure that every question's answered. And some sessions are just full of questions, and others there are none. And then we give an update, State of the Union on the hospital, the same update that we give our advisory board. You know, I have to make sure it's not too boring, so maybe it's a little more brief. But we celebrate the good. In healthcare, we're focused on what's broken, and we often don't pause and celebrate what's not broken. And so we try to balance that, and because we're in an industry where we're to fix things, we try to celebrate the 3-to-1 ratio of here are 3 legitimate things that are specific, 3 individuals, 3 accomplishments, so we don't forget that there's a lot going on. And all of that creates a healthy environment. And we're proud of that, and we hope to sustain it, and we're sure going to strive to do that. And patient satisfaction, we rank, our emergency department has been in the top 3 for the last 18 months. We're currently number 2.
Wow.
And so, but there's always setbacks. You know, we've had some turnover. It's been a real competition to recruit ER physicians across the country. And for the first year in many years, we did not fill every training residency slot for emergency medicine, because there was a study published that said that in 10 years there will be a surplus of ER physicians. I don't understand that. I guess they're thinking that AI will replace the need to go to an ER. I don't understand. But so as a result, medical students have avoided emergency medicine as a choice for residency. That's a scary thought. So there's turmoil in the state of Arizona in emergency medicine, and so we've had some turnover in the physician side. So we've been in the top 3. We hope to sustain that. But there's going to be some ups and downs that are just unavoidable. And our clinical quality is exceptional.
Yeah, and I think the approach you've used in recruiting is sort of under-promise, over-deliver, to where I've heard you state multiple times that you're very clear to people coming here to a rural community, some of the drawbacks or some of the things that you don't have access to. You know, maybe down the hill, you drive 90 minutes and, you know, you can get it, but in the immediate area, you just don't have it. So you really, I think, get people that want to be here, that want to come to a rural setting, understand, and have lived in rural areas before, so they aren't maybe, I don't want to say misled, but have different ideas in their head of what they're getting into and what the room country will be like. because I think that leads a lot of people, or causes a lot of people to leave, is they have expectations or these thoughts, oh, this is going to be so great, a quaint little town, and they don't realize, oh, they don't have the shopping, they don't have the entertainment, oh my goodness, the sidewalks roll up at 9 o'clock, so it's a little different. And I was going to ask, Ron, was there anything that you were maybe hesitant, or you and your wife, you're like, well, do we really want to go to a small community, or would we rather be in a little larger area?
No, we really want to go into a small community.
Okay.
My wife grew up actually in a small town, Oakhurst in California.
Okay.
And so she loves the little communities. And of course, I grew up in Wisconsin, the town I grew up in, until I was in 5th grade. Our population was 300.
Oh, whoa, that is small. That is very small.
Oh, but we did have 4 bars.
Wow.
How many stop signs did you have? That's the real measure.
But until 5th grade, I don't think that really didn't matter to you too much, I wouldn't think.
And we had been looking for over a year to find a place, and I was familiar with Pine and Payson, and we got lucky. We found a spot that's just perfect for us in Pine. It's just really nice.
Yeah. So, and Trevor, you were looking at going to Scottsdale. So what was the draw, or why were you looking to go down there instead of staying here, like right off the bat?
It's a good question. So I applied for 6 jobs
Okay.
when I graduated, and I got 5 of them.
Wow. Hey.
Which I was hoping I'd get 1 or 2, or at least to have a choice.
Oh my goodness.
And so
yeah.
I had to decide between 5 different places, and so I went to all of these interviews, which are intense because you're getting interviewed by an entire department at once. So there might be 15 to 20 people sitting around a table all asking me questions, and it's a pretty intense process to go through. But I really liked the Scottsdale Honor Health team that was there. They asked me really good questions. I just really kind of liked the vibe I was getting from them. And I wasn't really sure what it was going to be like to find housing here and different things. So there was an apartment right on Frank Lloyd Wright and Shea that I had put some money down on. It seemed like a good thing, but it just wasn't right for me.
The team, your coworkers, it's so critical, and that's something that you're very in tune with, Hoyt, and you can tell from the retention, over 90%. I mean, your team is so important, because if there's that feeling of family and just closeness and confidence in your team members, it makes all the difference.
In healthcare, these gentlemen participate when there's a code, when someone requires CPR, life-saving measures, which happens in hospitals more than any other location. And when you're working that code, if you can work with people that you've come to trust, you can almost read one another's minds. It just is the best outcome possible. So who we select, the number 1 cause of turnover in America in employment is my relationship with my supervisor. Interestingly, it's not my pay. Pay matters. You have to get into the ballpark of pay, be competitive. But if my boss tolerates poor performers, I'm more likely to leave. If my boss doesn't recognize when I do good work, or doesn't coach me effectively when I need coaching, isn't being honest with me, I'm more likely to leave my job. So it's a delicate balance, but in reality, it's kindergarten. Kindergarten rules. The same rules of that sandbox apply to adults. I'm so disappointed that I grew up, I thought, when we become adults, everyone's going to be polite and kind and respectful. and now in the world today, particularly today, it just seems like we've thrown kindergarten sandbox rules out the window.
Out the window.
My mother would, she would have a problem with that. My grandmother would be like, what has happened to this world? So we try to follow the things that our parents taught us about human relations and kindness. The reason that we remain married is because we're kind and respectful and thoughtful. Doesn't mean we have to agree. It means we have to be agreeable as we try to, in our disagreements, and listen to one another. And I think management principles, leadership principles are the same. I think it's a matter of just being real, being honest, respectful, and then clear when there is an obstacle or an unchangeable limitation, explain it. And then reasonable people will comply. And our jobs here at Payson Medical Center are not for everyone. And I don't want just anyone to come work here. We want talented professionals, highly trained, that love patient care, really feel called to the profession. It's interesting, Ron, that you wanted to be a social worker. I think that's one of the most heartfelt professions in healthcare. And it's fascinating that you, in a real way, you're touching lives as much as you would have in social work, but now physically changing their ability to have quality of life.
Here's what's funny, my first job was working on a dairy farm, and I'm actually a psych major to start. So we have a lot more in common than I thought.
And I didn't go back to school until I was 25, by the way.
Oh, look at that,
Isn't that
wow.
interesting?
And my grandfather, I almost became a dairy farmer, but I worked on my grandfather's dairy farm every summer.
Well, and my grandparents, my mom's parents, had a dairy farm as well. It was not working though when I, was a child, but they had a dairy farm. So
Hey,
yeah,
I still smell. And people on the listeners are going to say, "Are you crazy?" The smell of manure, man, brings back a ton of memories to me, and it's not repulsive to me. It's kind of like
Corn silage, you know.
Yeah, my other grandparents had a chicken farm, and that smell, the chicken is nasty too.
No, it is.
It's bad, but when you're on the farm for so long, like any other manure, you just don't smell it anymore. So yeah, memories there. Well, hey, we could go on forever. This has been great. Thank you so much. And just want to point out and mention to people Women's History Month this month, March, and there's a presentation at the Rim Country Museum Friday and Saturday. We were talking about it a little bit yesterday with some members from the Rim Country Historical Society. And your aunt, I believe, will be presenting, right?
Judith Harrison's going to be presenting her session, I think 3 times.
Yes.
Over Friday and Saturday.
Yep, Friday and Saturday starts at 10, goes until 4 each day, and all women, free entry into the museum, Zane Grey Cabin. So I encourage people to go out there you can learn more about the history of the hospital here in Payson.
Which our hospital, it was founded by the Junior Women's Club of Payson.
Yeah.
And they formed that Junior Women's Club for that sole purpose. We stand on the shoulders of those pioneering women.
So just one of the great events going on this weekend, so check that out if you can. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on this morning and sharing. It's been a pleasure. It's been great.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. Time to get back to the music here on KRIM with some Janis Joplin, Gin Blossoms, Rolling Stones, and more. But first, let's get a quick update from the National Weather Service. All right, guys. See you later. See you, Ashley.
When?
I